Move over to some Facebook stuff here. This was the raid that is planned to take place at Area 51 here, folks. This is interesting because mainstream news is covering this left and right, which is very interesting. So this is Fox News on this one. CNN has even covered it. Over 400,000 Facebook users pledge Area 51 raid, let's see them aliens. As of Friday, 416,000 people were listed as going to the planned raid, which event organizers say will take place on September 20th at 3 a.m. That's interesting, 3 a.m. to do it, because to do stuff in the dark, you know, especially when you know they got motion sensors and all that, that could be really bad. If they did it during the daylight and just, I guess I'll give my thoughts after I talk about the rest of this. An additional 428,000 people were listed as interested. Attendees will supposedly meet at nearby tourist attraction where they will coordinate our entry. The person who actually wrote this put a disclaimer that posted this for this event in the Facebook event, put a little blurb that says, "Hello, U.S. government, this is a joke, and I do not actually intend to go ahead with this plan. I just thought it would be funny and get me some thumbsy-upsies on the internet. I'm not responsible if people decide to actually storm Area 51. So he's covering his ass there. So now you got these news organizations covering this. I'm going to play a clip here from Fox News. But it makes you wonder what is going on here, because if all these news outlets are covering this thing, is this a distraction from the Epstein thing that's going on right now? It's perfect. Because number one, they denied Area 51 was real until I think, what was it, like, whatever, 95. I got it highlighted in one of the other articles. They denied it for the longest time, and now it's being talked about, like, okay, yeah, they do experiments there for war weapons, whatever. And the other half of me says maybe this is part of the disclosure initiative as well. And it can be used, of course, for both a distraction and a disclosure initiative to get people, like some really dumbed down people who are whatever, because this takes notice. You got this, everybody's going to storm Area 51. The people who are still living under a rock. Oh, Area 51 is real? What? Maybe they do have aliens there. And there's actually a rumor that this was coordinated by the government. Think about that.
The conspiracy theorists are going to say this is a false flag.
So when you really dig deeper into this stuff, you know, for that the news to cover it tells me that it very well could be. Well, let's go ahead and play this clip from Fox News talking about it.
A lot of folks are taking the internet-fueled idea of storming Area 51, where conspiracy theorists think the government has aliens on ice, as just clickbait. But it appears the U.S. Air Force is taking these threats seriously. National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin shows us tonight from the Pentagon.
It was a joke, but one the Air Force is taking seriously. A Facebook post, an avowed fake designed to get likes, announced a plan to raid the Air Force base in Nevada known as Area 51, which has been at the center of UFO and alien conspiracy theories for decades. More than 1 million people have signed up for the Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us event slated for late September, in which the post declares, "We can move faster than their bullets. Let's see them aliens." It's been enough to spook the Air Force, which doesn't use the term Area 51 to describe the 2.9 million acre live fire training range, the largest in the United States, located at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. One of the many reasons Air Force officials don't want people to trespass on the base, they are worried some might be killed. Quote, "Any attempt to illegally access military installations or military training areas is dangerous." There has been renewed interest in UFO sightings since it was revealed earlier this year. The military has spent $22 million to research UFOs and announced new classified guidelines for how its pilots should report them. Last month, the Navy briefed several senators on Capitol Hill about UFO encounters like this one. From a Navy F-18 training mission 4 years ago off the east coast of the United States, an unidentified aerial phenomena.
You have objects that are doing things, maneuvering in ways without any obvious sign of propulsion.
It's not clear the 1.1 million Facebook followers who said they are going to storm Area 51 are real and not Russian bots. Brett?
Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Jennifer, thank you.
Russian bots. Let's bring up that narrative again, why don't we? But that's tying in disclosure very nicely with that clip. I thought that was very interesting. When we talk about this storming this base, so if they have this, whatever it's up to now, 1.1 million, that last news clip said, it's interesting because it had to get a response from these military officials. Bob Lazar also responded to it. I'm going to read his response as well. But if that many people storm that base at once, they ain't going to slaughter that many people. You know they won't. Will a few get hurt? Maybe they'll take a couple out just to scare people. I don't know. But it would be very public news. And if our government just sat there and slaughtered everybody, I don't, for one, foresee this happening. I do. The day's going to come and go. I actually have it marked on my calendar to keep a close eye on this. But I don't foresee anything taking place. But at the same time, it would be kind of cool. But I know no one wants to put their neck on the line. Obviously, I don't condone this. So, but like, how are they going to stop that many people is what I'm getting at. And of course, they have a lot of advanced notice that they would be doing this so they could hide what they need to hide. If people are going to walk to the main Area 51 base, there's nothing there. It's just a runway with their experimental craft. This craft you'd want to see would be at S4, which, as I'll get to later, even Bob Lazar says it's probably moved by now, because why wouldn't they? Area 51 has become so public, you would do it elsewhere. So this article, now this is the response from the government. So threat to life for alien hunters wanting to storm base, Army issues stern warning. A staggering 1 million people have now joined a Facebook group encouraging people to descent on Area 51 to uncover any potential alien secrets. Area 51 has long been thought of by conspiracy theorists as a place where the U.S. government is hiding intel on alien activity. The public is demanding answers, and 1 million people and counting have signed up to a Facebook event called Storm Area 51. They can't stop us all. Maybe Tom DeLonge was responsible for getting all his not so smart followers to do this stuff. That's terrible.
No.
The sheer amount of people who have signed up to the event has caused the U.S. Army some concerns, forcing them to issue a statement. The base is heavily guarded and is surrounded by signs which state use of deadly force is authorized. Air Force spokesperson Laura McAndrews warned people to stay away in a strongly worded statement. Ms. Andrews said, Area 51 is an open training range for the U.S. Air Force, and we would discourage anyone from trying to come into the area where we train American armed forces. The U.S. Air Force always stands ready to protect America and its assets. According to the description of the Facebook group, attendees will meet nearby and storm the top secret base on September 20th. U.S. Army has taken this event very seriously. Some attendees have also failed to get the joke, warning people that they will be killed. Now here it is. The U.S. government did not admit the base existed until 2013. So deny, deny, deny. They finally admit it. And now it's really being pushed with this. Like crazy. Again, I think all this is part of the slow disclosure as far as slowly leaking stuff. And I think Bob Lazar was part of doing what he was there to do and help release this information about the base, because they do want it out in a way, because they actually have no choice. If the private sector gets so advanced, they're going to start building these things sooner or later. And then obviously they're going to go to the moon and see bases there. We already got SpaceX taking stuff into their own hands, so they have to get ahead of this before it gets out of control. So Bob Lazar's response, UFO expert Bob Lazar, chilling warning to stay away from Area 51. Of course, Bob Lazar is the one who allegedly worked at the Area 51 base at S4. He talked about the reverse engineering of flying saucers, and he said that these were not like, he was under the impression that these were not recently discovered, that they were like archaeological finds, if you will, and then they were reverse engineering how they worked, and that's a whole another story there. But you know, they gave him access to a lot of the stuff. They gave him the reports about like Zeta Reticuli aliens, tell him all this background stuff. Now, when you talk about compartmentalization, they're only going to like make you focus on one part. Steve Jobs did a very good job of this at Apple. I keep saying this on the show when it comes up, but perfect example is these engineers worked on the glass for an iPad. Now, they thought it was a laptop screen, but they were just working on that particular part. And they didn't know until the day of, when Steve Jobs came out and presented the iPad, that, oh, that's what that was for. Very, very, and that's a public company. So imagine what they can do in secret here. That's why they have such a hard time reverse engineering these things, because they're just getting people for secrecy. Think of what we could accomplish if this was out in the open. They had the private sector in there with people with the smarts to figure this stuff out. We'd be like a Jetson space age by now. Okay, back to Lazar. On his Instagram, he said, I have to comment on this Storm Area 51 thing. I do understand it was started as a joke by someone, but there are a number of people who are actually planning on showing up. This is a misguided idea. Area 51 is a classified research base. There are no aliens or alien technology located there. The only place there was ever any alien technology was at Site S4, south of Area 51 proper. That was 30 years ago. S4 may have moved decades ago, or is possibly it is no longer being used for the project. I do not support this movement. The last time someone tried to get into Area 51, he was shot. This is not the way to go about trying to get more information. What is good is the interest in the subject, the science and technology. That is what should be immediately change the world we live in. So definitely good and bad at the same time. I agree with Bob. It's crazy when you think about this being facilitated by the government to bring about disclosure. Now, an interesting thing, it was on I think it was on a Friday. Immediately, Tom DeLonge tweeted about it. And then I went to go save his tweets to show on the show, and they were deleted. But I dug some digging on the internet, and I found them thanks to some users on Reddit. So I got a few tweets here. Let's read from it. Because remember, Tom DeLonge is the official voice for disclosure, whether we like it or not, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you love him or hate him, this is part of the official disclosure. So at Tom DeLonge tweeted, storming Area 51 won't do anything of any value. The secrecy is a bureaucratic issue, a corporate issue, not an us versus them issue. We need legislation to be signed that changes the way this particular subject is classified. They are operating without oversight, and that's wrong. I agree with that. The way special access programs work really do help our country, but over 70 years, the system allowed the subject to sink into an invisible hole. Look how Trump keeps trying to get things done. Look how Trump keeps trying things and gets shot down by judges or Congress or in the system in general. Not even the president can do what he wants. If there is an existing law, the only thing that he can change is another law. So we need Congress to change the law on this one and pry open an existing information technology and biological treasures so the world can learn. So this is very deep stuff. I don't disagree with Tom by any means about this, but why did he delete it? Maybe he thought, oh, it was a fake thing, because this was right away when this came out. So they must have realized, oh, it was a fake thing, and then deleted his tweet or whatever. Maybe he was told to delete the tweet. I'm also going to show another. He's got a few more here. I'm just going to say another one. There's tons more here. So Tom DeLonge continues, and I've also have it managed by elected leadership. Over time, a group of the self-labeled most educated, most elite, and most benevolent have owned this in what they consider our best interest. And I believe in the 1940s they were right. But times change, and now there is a major distrust of the government and major ignorance on the part of U.S. civilians on how national security works. Thus, the reason I am making Secret Machines feature films, to bring everyone up to speed, per se. To the Stars Academy has spent the last year and a half briefing the Senate, multiple committees in Congress, and helping glue the DOD, IC, and Congress together on this. And guess what? I'm going to pause there for a minute. So right there, he's talking about them. He's been briefing them for the last year and a half. Remember in his TV show Unidentified that aired, they basically, because those had to be recorded ahead of time. We all know this, that it was more of a new recent thing, but it happened well over a year and a half timeline here. So again, a slow progression. Okay, his last tweet on this one. Yes, we are getting close to organizing this issue in the appropriate way. The Senate is energized and probably losing sleep. The way I was when I was brought into this, it's a big deal, and I am super proud of TTSA and how it succeeded in influencing national security law. Yeah, when I found out about the whole alien subject, my world stopped for a couple days, but then things moved on. But they had a year and a half already to digest this. So I don't know how, can we get people organized to do this? Are they so anti-Trump that it's, we can't gain weight? That's, again, this subject brings everybody together. Because then, that'll end the global warming debate. It'll end the monetary debate. It'll end the whole migration debate, because everywhere on the planet can be very, very successful. This is the biggest thing ever. Now here, Tom's gave another tweet. This was a really big one, so I screen captured this. And we all know this. What if 22 million spent on ATEP was only the amount of unclassified money that could be discussed? What if there was hundreds of millions more that can't be discussed because of the classified elements it was related to? Huge, huge right there, because we all know that the program's still going on. It went on in previous administrations, whatever you want to call it, before Project Blue Book, all of it, the MJ12 documents. It's just about bringing this out to the public. So very interesting stuff. Like I say, remains to be seen if they'll storm this base or not. I don't foresee it happening. But again, if it did happen, I don't see our government slaughtering millions of people. But yeah. And again, there ain't going to be anything there anyway. And that's a long walk from the fence to the base.